Welcome to the first ever episode of the capsON podcast. My name is Tyler Blumenstick, joined by
Michael Britton,
Nicky Tobes,
Anthony Mena.
And basically this podcast is going to be a little bit of a rundown of the sports coming up for the week, the recap of sports in the week past, with a little bit of a focus on sports betting, the lines, the angles, sharps, all that jazz. So
don't forget about some parlays, baby.
Parlays is
yes,
important.
Sir.
So we're going to start it off with a little bit of a rundown, starting with tomorrow night's Indianapolis Colts at Texans in Houston. Line opened up at Houston minus 3.5 with the over-under set at 45.5. First thoughts?
Well, honestly, I'm thinking the Colts. I just think the Texans don't really have this. The Colts are due. 3-1 at home.
I don't know, dude. Colts are 6-0-1 against the spread against the Texans last 7 games. Plus 3.5. It's gonna be a shootout. Colts are gonna get T.Y. Hilton back. No Marlon Mack, but they're not gonna really run the ball too much. It's gonna be a passing attack the whole fucking game. I don't know, man. I'm thinking Colts plus 3.5. I'm thinking the over. I think it's going to be a big game. It's an AFC show. What is it? AFC South.
AFC South.
Yeah, AFC South showdown. This is pretty much for the division at the end of when it comes down to it. It's going to be a shootout. Deshaun Watson always bounces back after a really crappy week. He played really crappy. What 4 fantasy points last week?
I think he had negative fantasy points last week, actually.
He was not good. That game was not good.
He was garbage.
It was the Lamar Jackson show.
It was Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Long story short.
So Deshaun Watson is going to show out. He's going to throw the football down the field. They can't run the ball. The Colts have a good run defense. They have a good defense overall.
I think what it comes down to is I think that the Texans in the first place are kind of overrated. I think they rely on Deshaun Watson to make plays. That offensive line doesn't protect him well enough, and Deshaun Watson bails him out. I think we've seen kind of a blueprint for this game when Indy played KC and beat them 19-3. They were able to control both lines. They were able to run the ball. They were able to basically control the entire game and take Pat Mahomes out of it. If they can do that with Mahomes or with Deshaun Watson, it's going to be a similar story. That game ended 19-3. So I don't think this game's going to be any different. I think it's going to be heavy relying on Deshaun Watson and whether or not he can control the game.
But I don't think there's going to be any running. I don't think there's going to be any... What, they're going to run with Carlos Hyde the whole game? No.
Carlos Hyde's been good this year. It's a fantasy...
Yeah, but you're
it's
also...
a dude that's sitting on your bench, and you're like, man, I might play Carlos Hyde this week, and then you never put in Carlos Hyde.
Missing trade for David Johnson, man.
Yeah, well, Carlos Hyde had that 1 week where he popped off for 160 rushing yards.
So in Indy's last 4 games, they're 1-3 against the spread, 2-2 straight up, with a sneaky little loss in there to the Dolphins. Is that the Dolphins' first or second win of the season? That was their second win.
They beat the Redskins, didn't they?
No, they beat the Jets.
They beat the Jets.
Oh, they beat the Jets.
Yeah.
Who beat our
Dude, the
Giants?
Colts were minus 11 against the Dolphins?
Yeah, they lost 16-12. Point being, Indianapolis' defense has stepped up.
They have.
I agree with Mano's point where they're going to have to slow down Deshaun Watson. They let up 13 points to the Jags, 16 to Miami, 26 to Pittsburgh, and 13 to Denver the week before. It's not a lot of points. That offense, especially getting T.Y. Hilton back, like you said, I know with the loss of Marlon Mack, it's pretty big. But they're going to be able to put up points. Brissett is back, looked okay last week.
Brissett knows how to run that offense.
Yeah, he's a professional. He's not the flashiest guy in the league. He's not going to burn you like Lamar, like Deshaun. But he'll get the job done. He's got one of the best receivers in the league in T.Y. Hilton, like I said. But, yeah, I mean,
listen, the only thing
it's going to be a good game.
The only thing that scares me about T.Y. is his injury history has been prolonged the past couple years. And you know what happens to those wide receivers when they keep getting injured. I mean, it's big boom bust guy, but you still have Jack Doyle, you have Ebron. I think the Colts have like one of the highest passing percentages in the red zone too. I mean, they got weapons. Their defense is stout. I really like Indy plus 3.5. I really do.
another little sleeper weapon for Jacoby Brissett is Zach Pascal. Really, nobody ever knew about this guy. He hasn't been putting up wild numbers, but he's been that guy that you can rely on. He made some nice catches around the sidelines, toe tapping it. But yeah, all right, want to go around and make some predictions for this game and move on?
All right, start us off, Stick.
See, initially looking at this game, I thought Houston -3.5. Will Fuller's still questionable-ish, questionable/doubtful. I've had him sitting on my fantasy bench for a couple weeks now since he actually got hurt. Only had one really good week, put up like 40-something, high 40s, low 50s points one week, and hasn't really broken anywhere close to 10 ever since. But he's a big threat for that offense. He complements DeAndre Hopkins. He gets him open. Kenny Stills is there too. The Texans have a really strong offense, but I think the Colts defense on a bend don't break kind of perspective, I think they're very similar, if not worse if not better than the Texans faced last week and the Ravens. So yeah, I mean I'm siding with you, Nick. I think.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna take the points with Indy, especially on the
Think
road.
about it. Last year, Deshaun Watson was able to work with DeAndre Hopkins, the guy across from him. So last year, him and Will Fuller worked out perfectly. I mean, Will Fuller would pop off, a couple games, and then he'd tear his hammy, and then he's out.
They let Will Fuller stretch the field.
Exactly. This year, they can't. It hasn't worked out. They got Kenny Stills because they thought Kenny Stills would help figure it out. It hasn't worked. I mean, you feed DeAndre Hopkins every game, he's going to get 10+ targets every game. He's going to catch 8 of them. He could still only get 80 yards and a touchdown, but that's not going to win you the game. I don't have confidence in Houston. Mano made a good point. I do think they've been overrated. I mean, coming into this year, I was high on them. I was high on Deshaun Watson. It's not like he's a bad quarterback. They just don't have the offense that everyone thought they would have. So I'm all aboard. Colts +3.5 today or tomorrow.
Today, by the time you're listening to this.
True. And if I'm going to, because I'm going to predict an odd even total score, I'm going even all the way. Total score is going to add up to an even number.
Wow.
It is a lock.
It is
Throw your money out the window.
It is a lock. Throw whatever you have in your bank account, throw it out the window. It is going to be even. I'm telling you right now.
Would you put your mom's house on it?
It's not my house, so absolutely.
Love that answer.
Yes, sir. And I'm assuming one of you guys would house me if that ever happens, so it's okay.
Oh, all right. All right. I was thinking the +3.5, but Brissett's QBR rating is only a 51.7 against them. And with Marlon Mack out, I just feel like he might not be able to do it. He does have 4 touchdowns though against Houston, with Deshaun Watson only having 1 against Indianapolis. So I'm not really sure if I want to cover the spread. I might honestly take Houston at -3.5. But I'm definitely going to bank on the over. I feel like these guys might just be stretching the field, throwing the deep ball a lot. So I'm definitely going to take the over 45.5 with a Houston -3.5.
The over on a Thursday.
There has been so many has there any overs hit on a Thursday night game yet?
I have
They're
no
all
idea.
low
I don't know.
scoring, I feel
That's
like.
something for you to look
I
up
gotta
and
look
back
that up.
around.
But I'm still going with this one's going to finally hit the over 45.5 with a Houston at -3.5.
You know what, Mike? The more I look at it, and I know I was saying I was riding high on Indy, but at 3.5, I don't know if I can stay away from Houston. I think I'm gonna lay the points. Houston -3.5, coming off a really bad loss. They want to get a good win at home.
They're home.
I think they should lay the points. So what do we got? Two.
Yeah, we got
Two
split
for Indy,
squad
two for
here.
Houston.
Yeah.
Nice.
It makes you feel better. The over/under is hit in Thursday games 5 out of 5 times, or 5 out of 10 times. So it's been a 50-50 shot.
50-50. This one is breaking
50-50 shot.
down, and we
You know
are
who wins
going
when it splits 50-50?
the over.
Vegas wins when he split 50-50.
Yeah, you already know it's going to come down to an Adam Vinatieri field goal, and he's just going to boot it. He's going to go right.
Shame.
He's going to contemplate retirement.
Adam Vinatieri.
He has been.
He's been on and off.
But he's Adam Vinatieri. You can't even count him out regardless.
He's
His
a
track
legend.
record's
He's
too good.
the legend.
Hall of Fame kicker. Time has come. Time has went.
All right, Stick.
Moving on to Sunday games. We'll start with the 1 o'clocks. First game on the slate to look at, Miami at Cleveland. Not necessarily the best game that you're going to want to watch on that Sunday.
I'm taking Cleveland all the way that game.
The lines
Oh,
opened
yeah.
up at 10.5, over at 44.5. This is another one of those games where Miami's getting double-digit points. Mano, I know you love those sneaky double-digit dogs.
Yeah.
do.
Sometimes it pays off. It's been paying off well for you this year.
I think Vegas is starting to pick up on it now because I mean earlier this year they were playing the Patriots, but they were like I think 17 or something like that.
If I could buy down Cleveland a little bit, maybe get them to -7.5, 8.5, something like that, I'd be a little more comfortable. 10.5 is tough. Miami doesn't have a good pass rush. I think Baker's going to have a lot of time, and can't forget about Jarvis Landry revenge game. He scored a touchdown in three straight games. He's going for number 4. I mean, he's been the clear-cut number 1 on that team. OBJ hasn't been able to produce at all this year. Hasn't been able to get open. Hasn't been able to get targets. I mean, I'm tempted to take. I don't like the 10.5, but I also really don't like Miami. So
yeah, that's why I think 10.5 is a hammer. I mean, Cleveland did do 21-7 against the Steelers, low-scoring game. I don't think Miami's going to be able to hang in. I think it's going to be at least a 2 to 3 touchdown lead for Cleveland, especially at home. And they've been terrible in the first half of the season. I think they're kind of due to start popping off, honestly. And in past seasons, they have picked up and went on a few game stretches. So I think that this is finally the turning point in the season where they will pick that up.
I happen to fully agree with you on that one. If you look at the two teams that Miami's beat and teams that Miami has played semi-close, it beat, as we said before, the Colts and the Jets. They lost by 17 to the Bills last week. But if you look at teams like Buffalo, Indy, without T.Y. Hilton, the Jets, not many weapons. Pittsburgh, not many weapons. Nobody that can really hurt you. And then you look at a Cleveland team where Baker Mayfield's having a down year. Hasn't really showed off what he probably wants to show that he's capable of. But you have weapons like Nick Chubb, just got Kareem Hunt back, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, David Njoku.
They got Njoku back too. Oh, that's a lock. 10.5.
You have guys that Miami's arguable, average college players that they have playing for their team this year are not going to be able to stop that Cleveland offense. No matter how slow they are, playmakers are going to make plays. And I think Cleveland absolutely runs away with this, especially at home. I think 10.5 is actually a pretty good line. If you can buy that down under 10 just to be safe, I think it should be fine, but I don't think Miami stands a chance.
I think this is a good one to bet early, too, because I think a lot of people are going to hammer the under or -10.5. And Vegas is going to pick up on that and raise that number. They'd even rate it at 13.5 or 14.5. So that's why I'm thinking this is an early lock. What about over/under?
I don't know how much I want to touch that game.
I think that is just...
It's going to be one of those things or one of those games where if
Sheesh. Well, if anyone uses FanDuel, I mean, the line pushed to -11. So,
all right.
I mean...
So like Mikey said, something to get early.
Yeah, it's something to get early. If you could buy down the points like you said before, Stick, I think that's a good idea. I don't know. I don't think Miami really stands a chance, and I think that's just about it.
They might hold it again. They may score first with a field goal, and then I think Cleveland is just going to dominate most of the time.
Fitzmagic, baby. Fitzmagic's going to hold.
And the morale's a little higher now with 2 wins.
He was a limited participant today in practice.
They're resting him.
Yeah, so if it's Josh, what was he really? Was that what it was?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Old man, he's a little achy in the bones.
Tank for Tua, baby.
Could you also see this game kind of moving in more of a shootout direction? I mean, if Fitzmagic can actually get in there, stand in the pocket, make some throws. Devontae Parker's been stepping up lately, especially in their 2 wins. Last week, I believe he had a touchdown catch in the loss. I don't know. Cleveland doesn't have Myles Garrett.
Cleveland's defense has been they've been underperforming a lot. They were going into this year, I thought Cleveland's defense was going to be dominant. Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, Olivier Vernon, Myles Garrett. Studs all around the corner, first-round picks all around the field. Offense, defense. They've just really underperformed this year. So, a shootout might be in play. I mean, the Dolphins have been sneaky the past couple weeks. Like you said, they were able to hold a standstill and hold a stalemate competition with
the Dolphins are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games before being beat last weekend by Buffalo. The spread in that game was +7, and they lost by 17. But they're keeping it close, I guess. in terms of the spread. They're keeping it within the 10 range.
They're also 3-1 on the spread or 3-1 for the spread on the road, whereas Cleveland is only 1-3-1 with the spread at home.
I think this is just a get-right game for Cleveland. I think after last week, what happened between them and Pittsburgh, I think they kind of want to shut up all the noise. I know Baker's tired of hearing all the crap, and I know OBJ's tired of hearing all the crap. I mean, I'm sick of hearing OBJ's bullshit too, but
Happy to see him underperform.
yeah. But I think this is a get-right game for them. And yeah, I mean, I'm all aboard Cleveland 10.5. I don't know about you guys.
No, definitely on that train. Like I said, I think this is definitely the turning point, or like is only up from here for Cleveland. It's like in the beginning of the season of like college, where they just beat up on like the awful teams in the beginning. This is almost that.
Games,
So this is almost that for Cleveland, and well, guess we'll have to see.
I like +11. I can't stay away from
Double
those.
digits.
Like these are professional football players. They're going to put up points. I don't know if they're gonna.
That's true. Miami's always got a point to prove.
Right.
Too.
And if they're going to be playing from behind the whole time, they're not going to stop. Eventually, Cleveland is going to try and just end the game without getting anybody hurt. Nick, I'm glad you mentioned the get-right game, and I might be jumping you here, Stick, but let's jump to Chicago and the New York Giants.
Oh man!
God. Let's not talk about that game. What'd that open up at?
So, well, you can look that up. I'm just gonna open this
-6.
game with, at the end of the Chicago game, they cut to Matt Nagy hugging Mitch Trubisky, who was hurt, and I put that in air quotes because they took him out, and Chase and he might have actually been hurt. I don't know, but
Listen, if you hurt your hip and you're already back, I don't know.
so yeah, Mitch Trubisky was practicing this whole week.
He's a full participant all week. There's no way he
And
was hurt.
So this is the definition of a get-right game for Mitch Trubisky for the Chicago Bears. It's going to be a fun one.
I agree with you, man. His face when he was taking that game looked like a kid who woke up on Christmas and he got coal. He was just distraught by that. So I think you're right. He comes in with a vengeance, and the Giants are very, very rocky. You can't rely on them ever.
Yeah, listen, I hate Trubisky. I think Trubisky's an awful quarterback. I don't think he belongs. He shouldn't be a starting quarterback. I think Chase Daniel gives him a better shot at winning than Mitch Trubisky does. I've hated Trubisky since he came out of college, but the Giants' defense is just too bad.
So this game opened at 7. It is now 6.5.
Listen, Danny Dimes.
Yeah, the Giants, you never know. He could just come out firing.
So, you guys are mentioning Mitch Trubisky. I don't even think Trubisky's going to have to be a factor in this game. You've seen Daniel Jones' ball security. Just a little disclaimer. This podcast is currently being done by 4 Giants fans, so all bias aside, the Giants are away. They're in Chicago.
Oh, they're away, that's it.
Chicago has a good defense. It's going to be colder than in New York, although not by much, but Chicago is still Chicago, the Windy City. It's Daniel Jones' first trip into pretty much freezing weather. 1 o'clock start. We've seen Daniel Jones week in and week out just not be able to hold the football. While wishful thinking puts me on the side of he's going to right the ship, I mean, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Chicago -6. I think their defense is going to hold it. The Giants just don't have much life now, and when they're facing a defense that has it, it's just not going to go well. So,
I think one of the most popular prop bets this week is going to be Khalil Mack over whatever the amount of sacks that Vegas sets it at. It could be at 4.5, 5, and I think I would consider taking it. The Giants are doing patchwork at offensive line again. The Soldier trade hasn't worked out. The Remmers deal the Soldier signing. The Remmers
trade.
No, I think
it was the other way around.
The Remmers signing the Zeitler trade.
It's all a garbage.
the mishmash offensive line.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to hold Khalil Mack, especially if they're throwing different looks at him.
No, I think this is another game Saquon gets 15 touches and only gets maybe 20, 30 yards.
He's struggling, so
why play him at this? I don't know. It's just I can't even talk about the Giants without my blood pressure rising.
Stick, you got a prediction?
Oh God.
I mean, as much as my heart wants me to just take the touchdown with the Giants, I mean, I can't back this publicly because it's just not. It's not going to happen. I could see the Giants winning this. It could stay close in the first half, but
Giants beat them
ultimately
last year at overtime. They almost blew the game, but
Yeah, but then again, that's two-time Super Bowl champion
Eli.
yeah, right.
Elijah. So
I just don't think it stays close. I mean, it might stay close throughout the first half, but I think the Bears' defense is going to stay solid throughout the entire game.
easy.
While the Giants' offense is only going to be able to have flashes, and as much as Trubisky just isn't really a great quarterback, isn't doing well, he did play well last year. Like he showed flashes of being able to score. They have Allen Robinson. They have people that are able to catch the ball. They have Montgomery. They have Tariq Cohen. They have Taylor Gabriel, who's actually been one of Trubisky's favorite targets as of late. Anthony Miller, another guy. I mean, it's not. I feel like the offenses are pretty similar here. But the edge goes to the defense, and that's the Chicago Bears.
The edge absolutely goes to the defense. The Giants' defense isn't going to stand a chance. Janoris Jenkins should not be playing in the league anymore. The Giants are starting a bunch of rookies left and right who don't know what they're doing. DeAndre Baker looks like he's lost out there.
He is lost. He's publicly said that he does not know the defense and he guesses. That is not a team I want to put my money on.
Don't back the Giants.
Don't back the Giants. Maybe in later seasons of the podcast we'll be able to get you some Giants picks, but not now. Definitely not now.
The one bet I might take on this might be under 40.5. I think, I don't know, I just can't see Mitch Trubisky completing a lot of passes, even though the Giants' defense or defensive backs are not good. I think there's going to be a lot of sacks, a lot of fumbles, and a lot of 3-and-outs with a lot of punts in this.
And I'm no DraftKings expert here, but if I were, I would absolutely tell you to stream Bears tight ends and Taylor Gabriel because the middle of the field and the underneath against the Giants is wide open. Every single week, it's frustrating to watch, and I think that it's just going to continue. And the Giants' defense is going to make Mitch Trubisky look like an all-star Pro Bowler, and that's just it. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're beating the dead horse here.
Yeah, and Mitch Trubisky.
Fade the Giants.
Listen, if you want to hear another game that's going to be nowhere close, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati.
Oh my God.
Cincinnati's got Ryan Finley manning the helm. The Pittsburgh Steelers have one of the best defenses in the league. Ever since they got Minka Fitzpatrick, he has been absolutely taking over the league. Touchdowns, interceptions, forced fumbles. Devin Bush. That whole defense, I think, is going to manhandle the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think they're going to stand a chance. Yeah, Mason Rudolph is at the helm. 6.5. I would take Pittsburgh all the way.
Mason Rudolph with the dent in his head.
Yeah, we haven't seen him play since his concussion from that helmet, so...
I don't think he even got it.
No, he didn't. He's on TV now just apologizing.
How does he not have a concussion? You saw what happened to the chair. So let me take a helmet and beat into a wooden
He got
chair.
knocked out on a normal hit. When I saw the replay of that, I was like looking for Mason Rudolph injury reports, but the guy got knocked out cold a couple weeks before, just
limp. I saw it
limp,
live.
as if it's a UFC fight. Just absolutely went limp. Then Myles Garrett just has the audacity, I guess you could call it, to smack a man over the head with a helmet. I don't know. He's fine. Mason Rudolph clearly is a tough guy, but I guess when you get knocked out, you get knocked out. There's nothing you could really do about it.
I think it's just going to be a defensive-heavy game. I mean, Cincinnati's defense, they're probably the only ones that have a worse defense than the Giants, and that's tough. But
Pittsburgh is without Juju this week, I believe. He's concussed, right?
yeah, but if you've seen Juju hasn't done anything.
Oh,
the
knee
past
injury.
ever since the Big Ben's been knocked out, Juju's been virtually. I mean, he hasn't really. I mean, yeah, he's out there. Mason Rudolph's averaging 190 yards a game around. How are you going to split that up? Even when Juju's in there, how do you split those yards up between Juju, Deontay Johnson, DeAndre Washington? James Conner, maybe James Conner. How do you know James Conner's not going to hurt his shoulder again? I just don't think there's going to be a lot happening in this game. I think the under at 39 is going to hit. I think that game's going to be a real stinker.
This is a game I stay away from personally. I just don't trust Pittsburgh enough. They're on the road. They're in Cincinnati. There's a chance Cincinnati gets A.J. Green back. I don't trust Ryan Finley. It just comes down to the trust factor. I don't trust any of these teams, or either of these teams, rather, to cover a spread, whether it's 6.5 on the Pittsburgh side or covering the 6.5 for Cincinnati. I just don't know which way this is going to go. If you like to play unders and overs, take the under. But then again, defenses could just evaporate and people could just run wild. So I don't know. This is a game I personally stay away from.
It's an interdivision game. I don't think Pittsburgh lets up. I think Cincinnati doesn't care. At this point, they want a top 5 pick. I don't really think that Cincinnati's going to try as much as Pittsburgh going to try. Pittsburgh wants to win the division. Pittsburgh wants to make a playoff push. The odds chance that they could do something in the playoffs. I think it's going to be all Pittsburgh, and I think the under is going to slam.
Do you think Cincinnati goes 0-16 this year?
I
the
think
rest of their
it
season?
comes down to Dolphins week 17.
Mm-hmm. That's why I didn't take plus 400 that they go 0-16.
That is going to be such a trash game.
Oh, man.
I mean, you just never know how that's going to go. You don't know if Dalton's going to be put back in. I don't know. And
You can't put Dalton.
That's going to be the lowest over-under. It's going to be like 33.5.
I think the Dolphins
Not
win that
even.
game. I think the Dolphins win that
have
game.
to win that game. Well, we'll see if there's any serious injuries or anything like that going forward. But based on how it's looking now, the Dolphins will most likely win that.
So before we move on to Denver at Buffalo, lost my train of thought there. What were you just talking about?
We were just talking about Pittsburgh, Cincinnati going
Talk about
0-16.
gambling, baby.
We're
I had a
degenerates.
I lost my train of thought.
Choo-choo, leaving the station.
Moving on, Denver at Buffalo. We're just bringing you all the good games
Oh,
here.
at Buffalo?
If you have anything to do this weekend,
It's the Allen Showdown.
It is the Allen
Josh
Showdown.
Allen against Brandon Allen.
I don't know what these 1:00 games are telling me right now. If I wasn't a Giants fan and I had stuff to do this weekend,
I
would do my stuff, run my errands on Sunday, get back by 4:00 because the games get significantly better.
Yeah, they do get. Listen, you have Oakland at the Jets. That might be a good game.
I think Oakland.
I do think Oakland wins. I do think.
Are we just skipping Denver and Buffalo?
Yeah,
I think we should dive into it.
Yeah, I think we should.
all right,
Bills
all right,
Mafia.
So, just looking at it, just from an
Electric.
average fan perspective, Denver at Buffalo does not sound like a good game. These teams do not sound like good teams. Buffalo has been a surprise in my eyes. I know with the Patriots in the division, the Jets were talked about in the beginning of the year because of their signings. They made moves with their cap space. They signed C.J. Mosley. They just tried to really bolster their defense, and Sam Darnold's second year apparently was going to come out firing. Robbie Anderson was going to do something. Second year or third year?
What
Are
the
we
hell
on
are
the
you
Jets
doing?
or
Why are
on
you talking
Buff-
about the Jets? We're talking
I'm talking
about
about
Buffalo.
I'm talking about the division.
Oh.
Heads in the clouds.
We are sober.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Shocking.
But
Sorry, go ahead.
anyway, Buffalo just was projected as maybe that. The division's always Patriot heavy, but Buffalo was pretty much projected to finish that division third. Now they're a playoff contender, carried by their defense. And Josh Allen, although he hasn't been one of the best quarterbacks in the league, he has not hurt them, and I think that's what kept them afloat. They're 7-3. They're threatening. If the Patriots would just drop some games like a normal NFL team does, those would be threatening for the division.
For the Patriots. It's coming for
Like
them.
it.
Their offensive efficiency is so bad.
I think I don't want to dive into this right now just because it's not what we really talk about here. But if Tom Brady leaves the Patriots this year or whenever he leaves them, I think the next team up in that division would be Buffalo. I don't think it's the Jets. The Dolphins still have a ways to go. But I think Buffalo is that next big team in the AFC East ready to take over when the Belichick-Brady Kraft regime, well, I don't think Kraft's going anywhere, but when the Brady-Belichick regime comes to a close, it's interesting to see where that division goes. But I think it's Buffalo's. They have a young QB in Allen. They have Devin Singletary. They pieced together.
Love Devin Singletary.
He's good. They've pieced together the receiving court. John Brown has had over, I think he's had
Last week he went off.
I want to say it's.
He's had like over 50 yards receiving every game.
That's what it is.
Like,
Yeah, I was gonna go with the receptions. But I don't think it. I thought I heard like 7 receptions for 50 yards, but I don't think he's gotten 7 receptions every single game. But it's definitely.
he's gotten over 5 targets every game.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten 50 yards in every single game this season.
He had 14 targets last week.
Yeah, John Brown's the go-to. They got Cole Beasley in the slot. Dawson Knox.
I love the Bills. I've always loved the Bills. Josh Allen has been able to settle into his role nicely there, specifically based on their defense. Their defense has been rock solid. Tre'Davious White, Tremaine Edmonds, what's his name from Clemson? Shaq Thompson, Shaq Lawson. I don't know. They have a good
Shaq Lawson.
Their defensive line is stout. Their defense keeping them in games, giving Allen more shots is important. Allen maybe can't throw the ball down the field as much as he would like, but he could do it with his legs. He's got John Brown now, like we were saying. He can throw the ball downfield. He's got his underneath route in Cole Beasley. He's got Devin Singletary. Can't forget about Frank Gore. How is that dude still rushing the football? I'm all aboard the Bills train. Stick, I think you hit the nail on the head that they're the next ones up in the AFC East. Ride Bills, baby. Bills Mafia.
Yeah, I like the under at 37.5. Their offense is near inexistent. I know you just went on that nice little list of players that they have, but it doesn't really matter if you get them the ball every time, but can't close in the end zone. You know what I mean? Or in the red zone. If they're kicking field goals, which they have
the
been
Bills?
all year. The Bills.
The Bills been kicking field goals all year?
The Bills unders have been hitting all year.
Well, it's because their defense is
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they can't, on an offensive side of the ball, they can't put it up in the point. And Vegas is
they don't
sticking
have
on to
to.
this, too.
Well, they don't have
It's
to.
37.5.
No,
That's
listen.
Even their spread is -4.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying their offense has potential. Mm-hmm. I'm saying if they have to do a shootout, I don't think they've had to go in a shootout yet this year. If they have to go in a shootout, I think there's a good chance that the Bills
They
will
haven't been
contend.
shootouts. They've been close games, but they all been slow, holding the defense.
That's what the Bills know, man. The Bills run the old school offense, and I love it. I love it.
If I have one pick for this game, I really think this might be the best bet of the week. I think Buffalo -4 is a great pick. I just don't see Denver doing much. Like, Brandon Allen has been able to put up points, keep games close as of late. They played Minnesota extremely tough in Minnesota last week, lost 27-23.
Minnesota's defense isn't what they used to be.
It's
now.
not, but
Xavier Rhodes is not what he used to be.
But Brandon Allen is not even a top 20 quarterback in the league. I mean, and he's been able to keep it close, but I just think he runs into a buzzsaw here with this Bills defense.
I completely agree, yeah.
I don't think they have enough options. They have Cortland Sutton. That's about it.
He is garbage.
Phillip Lindsay, have him on my fantasy team, so I know he just hasn't been explosive. He's not a bad running back. He's middle of the pack, but
he is explosive. They just don't know who to give the ball to. They give the ball to him and Royce Freeman. It's every other time. Here, you want this, Royce Freeman? Here you go, Phil Lindsay.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, it's just tough, and I don't think that going into Buffalo is going to benefit them at all. Their playing conditions on their home fields, respectively, are similar, so I'm going to take that factor out. But, I mean, I just don't see Denver finding a way on offense, and their defense isn't what it used to be in their Super Bowl contending years. Although they still do have Von Miller, who came out today saying that he's excited and wants to be in Denver when Drew Lock gets famous, his direct quote. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad he has faith in Drew Lock, but if you watch him play in college,
I'm glad
I
he
don't
has
know.
faith in Elway, because I don't.
No.
Elway thinks that Flacco's the answer. Let's trade for Flacco, because Flacco's going to help us get to the playoffs.
Yeah, because he's elite.
So do we have a squad agreement here?
Yeah,
that Buffalo -4?
I'm saying Buffalo -4. My only factor that I'm going off of is hand size, all right? Brandon Allen has 8 and 7/8 inch hands. Those are tiny. I might even have bigger hands. Then you got Josh Allen with the bear paws out here with 10 and 1/8 inches. You always go with the quarterback with bigger hands. That ball security is really important. Hammer the fucking Bills at -4, baby.
Passionate. All right, let's keep it in division. Sticky kind of alluded to the Jets. They're hosting the Oakland Raiders. John Gruden.
The Raiders.
I love the Raiders.
They're good this year.
The Raiders? Absolutely.
They're
They really
interesting.
are sneaky. I don't know.
knock if you're with me.
Knock.
All right.
All right.
Now that that's out of the way.
No, Oakland's defense has overperformed this year, especially as of late. Derek Carr looks like he's settling in. Josh Jacobs looks phenomenal in that backfield. John Gruden finally started making the right plays. Do I think they made the right decision by trading away Marlon Mack and signing John Gruden for $100 million? No. But they're making it work. The Jets suck. I hate the Jets. I hate Darnold. I know they don't have Rex Ryan anymore, but I hate Rex Ryan. I'm sick of that team. I hope they lose.
So this game right now is at 3. The spread is 3. -3 for Oakland on the road. I love that. And let me tell you why. I'm in the same boat with you with the Jets, but they've won 2 in a row now. They've beaten the Giants and the Redskins.
And before that, dropped to Jaguars and Miami.
Exactly. And then got shut out.
They're just not battle tested at all.
I
agree with you.
I just think that they've won 2 games in a row. That offense has kind of been clicking against 2, defenses where your offense should click. If you're listening, Mitch Trubisky, let's tone it down. But your offense should click when you play the New York Giants and when you play the Washington Redskins. Home, away, it doesn't make a difference. I don't think they're going to get that same luxury with Oakland. I don't know if Oakland's legit or not, but I know they are better than the New York Giants,
Yes.
and they are better
Jets,
than the.
he's
The
saying
Oakland. I know that
Oh, you're saying
Oakland.
defenses?
Yep.
Yeah, well, he's saying in general.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, how would you not
So-
hit that -3?
Three to me seems pretty close, and I know you mentioned that this might be a game to get on early before people realize that it's 3 against the Jets, home or away. It doesn't matter.
It's still sitting at 3.
I think my lock of the week is Oakland -3. I don't think I'm going to come off of it. I think it can go to 5, and I think I'd still, or 6 or 7, and I think I would still
Oh man, they're
take it
playing
there.
Plus
Couldn't agree
100.
with you more. And
At
even
-3, it's plus 100
On FanDuel.
on FanDuel.
Cash.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the line is -3 and it's not higher, like upwards of maybe 5 or 6, is because of the fact that Oakland had a down week last week. They played a touchdown game against the Bengals, the winless Bengals. I mean,
So
they
you're
were
seeing-
at home, played a touchdown game, didn't cover the spread as almost 2 touchdown favorites. I just think this is a little bit of a Vegas adjustment here, but I'm going to see right through it, and I agree with you, man.
So you think
I think the
Oakland
line's
is coming
low.
back down to earth? You think they're
No, I
regressing?
think the opposite. I think they're still the same team they are, but I think that the line was set at what it is, at -3, and not -4, 5, 6, because Vegas might think they're coming down to earth, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to see right through that. And the Jets just aren't a very good football team. They haven't played a team with fire. They haven't played, just on the coaching battle itself, John Gruden versus Adam Gase, who are you going to take?
Yeah. The only thing I'm definitely going to hammer Oakland -3. The only thing that worries me a little bit is Derek Carr. He dictates that whole offense, and you just can't trust him, especially if Jamal Adams just gets his number and is just reading those eyes. But still, Oakland is definitely a hammer at -3.
Yeah, I love what Oakland's been doing with their offense, with their defense, with the whole camaraderie of that team. They've been in the crapper for the past 3, 4, 5 years. I think they're finally pulling themselves out of a hole. I don't know if Derek Carr's the answer, but I do think he's part of the solution. And I would ride the Raiders this year, and I look for them to be contenders next year too.
You also got a sneaky Hunter Winthrop in there.
Hunter Renfro.
Renfro, what is it? Winthrop?
Winthrop College.
All right.
Yeah, what we got next?
Yeah, another full squad agreement there on Oakland -3. Moving on to one of the final 1 o'clock games, Carolina at New Orleans. The games are getting better. Not one of the best games you're going to watch, but the games are getting better. At least you have a competent offense in New Orleans led by Drew Brees, Michael Thomas.
Did you see what they did last week? Or was it,
2 weeks ago?
Oh my god.
But I think they're better than that. They always throw in a clunker like that.
Well, I could tell you McCaffrey's going to pop off.
But
That is my prediction.
I mean, it's possible. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. New Orleans set at 9.5 favorite right now. Over set at 47. This is another game I don't think I'm going to touch. It's a New Orleans team who's been shaky. They lost to Atlanta, who is a bad football team. But then again, you flip it around. Carolina lost 29-3 last week to Atlanta. So you got to take into account, is Atlanta figuring it out, or are these teams kind of coming back down to earth a little bit?
They must have had the Falcons must have had a pep talk of a century. After their bye week, their defense is competent.
Yeah, and the thing is,
what?
Their offense should produce that Atlanta offense.
Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hooper. I mean, no Hooper anymore, but Devontae Freeman. I hate Devontae Freeman. But
Devontae Glassbones Freeman.
They used to have Sanu. I mean, that team should be popping off. Realistically, that offense, Matt Ryan should be throwing for 400 yards a game.
Yeah, I think definitely going to stay away from this game. If I had to pick one, I think I would just go with the over of 47. I think it's going to be just constant scorings. Carolina a little more on the ground with McCaffrey, CMC, and then Drew Brees just deadly in the air. So if I had to pick one, I'm definitely going to say over 47, but otherwise I would not touch this game. Especially like New Orleans, after you said I guess both of them losing to the Falcons, they both have a little chip on their shoulder, but New Orleans is going to come out on top. I'm not going to take a minus 470 money line. No way.
Moving on, we got Detroit at
You missed the 1
Washington.
o'clock.
Yeah, Tampa and
Sorry. Yeah. Well, no.
We got two more. We got Detroit at Washington. We got Tampa at Atlanta. And I believe that's it.
Let's talk. No, we got Seattle. We got Seattle at Philly. I'm going to talk about Seattle at Philly because I love the Seattle Seahawks. I know they're on the road against the Eagles, but the Eagles' pass defense has been so atrocious. Russell Wilson, perennial MVP for the year. He's only thrown 2 interceptions this whole entire year. He's thrown 2 interceptions this whole entire year. Philly does get exploited through the passing game. Chris Carson is a great running back. Their offensive line is stout. Yeah, the Seattle Seahawks don't have the defense that they used to, but the Eagles also don't have the offense that they used to. So I don't think Philly's going to really be. I don't think Philly's going to win this game. I think Seattle +2 is good to go. Russell Wilson, I mean, I don't have anything left to say. He's proved everything he's had to prove this year. I love Seattle +2. I'm riding that. I'll lock that in. I will lock that right now.
Couldn't agree with you more. Philadelphia, I think, is a little overhyped. They're also in the NFC East with the Giants and the Redskins, so not much competition there. And I know Aguilar has had some rough hands. Carson Wentz is just not what he is. I have to double check, but I know they're not.
Catch like Aguilar.
Always throw some babies out a window. But yeah, and after seeing just how Russell Wilson performs and everything, he's going to throw all over Philadelphia. And I think that Carson Wentz is just going to have a lot of trouble getting things done. Yeah. And nothing is going to excite me more than seeing just Eagles fans just trying to make up excuses about this and that. I'm sick of it. Hammer Seattle +2.
Seattle +2.
I agree.
Yeah, peanut gallery.
Yeah, I mean, I really do think that Seattle +2 is a good pick. Right up there with my Buffalo Bills pick. Philly played New England pretty tough last week at home. They're back home again. Seattle's got to come across the country for a 1 o'clock start. That's why the line is the way it is. It's just, I don't know. I don't see Philly pulling this one out. They're 5-5. They really do need this game, but I just think Russell Wilson, MVP candidate. I don't think he's going to win the MVP because Lamar is just not going to be stopped.
Lamar Jackson.
But, yeah, I mean, Seattle +2. Take the points on it with an 8-2 team on the road.
Easy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Mano,
like that.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like Seattle at +2. I think they're 5-0 this year against the spread on the road. I don't think they're the team that they used to be, but I don't think the Eagles are either. And that's not to say that, Seattle isn't a really good team. I mean, being 8-2 is no easy task. On the road in Philadelphia is the thing that scares me. But I see Russell Wilson getting the job done. 2 points isn't anything that scares me away. So I would hammer Seattle +2.
Yeah, Seattle is 3-0 against the spread. So, as underdogs. Seattle's 3-0 as underdogs. Ride the points, baby. Ride the points. All right, so what we got next?
Moving on, last 1 o'clock game. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. We talked a little bit about Atlanta during some previous game talks, and is this a team that's figuring it out? Like, I don't know what to make of Atlanta. Like, they have a good offense. Like, Tampa Bay's been involved in I don't even know how many shootouts this year. This game is going to have absolute negative defense. Not absolute negative defense.
Yeah, the absolute.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking absolute values here,
positive.
I don't know.
This is the math.
But
This is Atlanta, Tampa.
Tampa
Honestly,
Bay, Atlanta.
I don't want to touch this game. I don't.
Really?
It's Atlanta -4.5. Over is 51.5. That over is a little too high, I would say.
I mean, you're in the dome. You're in the
feel
dome.
comfortable, though.
You're in the dome. You're in Atlanta. You're in the dome. Jameis is in a dome. At least he's not going to be outside in the cold.
Yeah, but
it's Jameis.
Cold doesn't affect brain cells.
That's or eyesight.
That's the thing.
Accurate. I just don't. I don't really like the game. I think we've seen the best and the worst of both teams, and I'm just too unsure about what I'm going to see from either team. I could see Jameis throwing 4 picks. He could throw 4 picks, 400 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and they could win the game. I don't know. Their passing defense is trash. If I had to pick, I'd go to Atlanta -4.5. I would rather not touch it though.
I agree. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to touch it. But like you said, if I had to pick one, definitely would go Falcons 4.5. I just feel like Dan Quinn has definitely not lost his locker room. He's definitely rallied up the troops with the past 2 wins, and I just don't think that the Bucs have it in them to go to Atlanta, like you said, in the dome. Chick-fil-A is not open on the Sundays in there.
Why have it in the stadium if it's not
the
going to be
one
open?
Monday or Thursday night game, baby.
It's the best marketing decision that you could ever make.
You know that's the only place people can get food at when it is the only 1 game a season. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Falcons -4.5. I think they're gonna win by at least 10.
I'm gonna flip here. I'm looking at Tampa +4, and I don't think they're gonna win the game, but I think it's gonna be close. I think Tampa, from an offensive perspective, can put points on the board. They're letting Jameis Winston throw the ball for better or worse. I just feel like it's gonna be in a type of game where they're down 10 and there's a minute left on the clock and they put up a touchdown and you're screwed because of it. I don't know if it's going to be I don't know if it's going to be close the entire game. It could be a 10-point game the entire time, but until Jameis gets the ball last with 2 minutes in garbage time and puts points on the board, that's what worries me.
Listen, the whole game worries me. I feel that, Tampa Bay has the weapons to put up a fight. God, man, it stinks. That game stinks.
Do you guys want to talk about Detroit, Washington?
We can talk about how stinky it's going to be.
Hammer the under.
I mean, Jeff Driscoll against Dwayne Haskins. Tell me who you want to go right here. Where do you want to go with this?
I don't want to touch this game. I don't want to talk about this game. I say we just move on to Jacksonville at Tennessee. Jacksonville +3. The under-over is set at 41.5, which actually seems pretty enticing, not going to lie. But if I had to pick a team in this one, I would pick Jacksonville and take the points. Only because I think Jacksonville's got a better defense than Tennessee. It's arguable, but I mean, I don't know. This is a game I'm staying away from. I don't know what we're going to get with Ryan Tannehill. You also don't know what you're going to get with Nick Foles. Both teams have solid running backs. Jacksonville has the receiver edge, although, I mean, other than Chark, they're kind of just a bunch of role players at that point. Corey Davis for Tennessee hasn't been all he was expected to be. Other than that, yeah, I mean, this is a game I don't want to touch.
Yeah, if Derrick Henry could also have just a crazy breakout game too. But I agree. Like, I don't have faith in either of these quarterbacks, so I definitely would like to stay away from this one.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Tennessee that really scares me off is the fact that they do not have anybody besides Derrick Henry. Fantasy wise, I mean Jacksonville does have the 22nd ranked defense, which isn't the best, which which gives me reason to think that Derrick Henry will pop off. It is an interdivision matchup, so neither team is going to let up. The team's going to bring their all. I think it's going to be a close game all the way. I do think the under is going to hit. I don't think there's going to be a lot of offense in this game at all. But I would rather put my trust in Nick Foles in this situation. Nick Foles has won important games before in the past. Yeah, he's been injured, and yeah, he broke his clavicle or no, his collarbone, whatever the hell it is. But I ride with Jacksonville. DJ Chark, I think he's broken out for them this year. They got D.D. Westbrook, who's nice, as an underneath man. They don't have, especially Jacksonville doesn't have the defense that they used to have. Their passing defense isn't that great. They lost Jalen Ramsey. They still have Calais Campbell. They still have Miles Jack. They still have A.J. Bouye. I do think if I had to pick a team right here, it would definitely end up being Jacksonville +3. I'd take Jacksonville and the points. I don't trust Mike Vrabel at all on the slightest. You got anything, or Mano, you got anything on that?
Yeah, I just like I don't think it's going to be a particularly good game by any means. I don't know how you can go into a game and see Ryan Tannehill and be like, man, that's a safe dude to bet on. I like the under in this game. That's really about it. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't think I can put my money on either of these teams, but I could put my money on both to not do anything this game and be okay.
Honestly, that's fair. I feel like. Yeah, another crappy game on this wonderful Sunday coming up. Moving on. Finally, the last two games we're going to talk about, you guys are going to be excited, are good games.
That's 3.
Dallas at New England, Green Bay at San Francisco, and Monday night, Baltimore at the Rams. So I guess we could dive into Dallas at New England here. New England's got a touchdown favorite at home. The under-over set at 45. Pretty kind of fair number, I guess you could say. That's about average. You got Dallas coming in. I believe they're leading the division. New England's leading the division with Philadelphia playing a tough game against Seattle. They're going to be hungry. Dallas is going to be just as hungry to maintain that one-game division lead over the Eagles. But then again, you go into New England and everything you want to play for kind of goes out the window, and you're stuck playing the Patriots game and trying to beat them at their own game. Their defense has been stout. Dallas's offense has picked it up. This is kind of a toss-up game for me. I just don't know with a touchdown line, I guess. I mean, I think Dallas is a much better team than Philadelphia, and Philadelphia played New England to 7 points last week. So, I don't know. I mean, Philly was home. Dallas is on the road. But, I think I still would take the 7 points on the road. Like, Dallas is not a bad football team. Yes, they have a bad loss to the Jets on the road at MetLife. I don't know. I'm probably going to end up staying away from this game, but I think the best pick here would be Dallas +6.5. I think they find a way. They have enough weapons on offense. Dak Prescott's been having a career year. Zeke is Zeke. Amari Cooper, he's their number one, but I think Michael Gallup has been their real breakout number one guy this year. Like, he's their go-to. Last week, Cooper kind of got banged up a little bit, and Gallup and Randall Cobb both went for over 100 yards, held the load.
Who'd they play last week?
Who did Dallas play last week?
Yeah.
Detroit.
Detroit's defense isn't that great.
Regardless, even when they played better competition earlier in the year, Gallup has been performing as kind of like, so I would compare him to having a season kind of like Chark's, a little bit of a breakout, and taking over as a number one, although I would still pencil in Amari as number one on the depth chart, one of the best receivers in the league. But when he's going one-on-one against a top corner, like the Patriots are going to throw out in Stephon Gilmore, Gallup and Cobb are just going to be that much more important, and I think it's enough to keep them close, especially with the fact that the Patriots don't have many weapons on offense. They have role players, and that's New England. That's how they've been, and yeah.
Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, I think New England does pull this game out, but I definitely would. My lock would definitely have to. I definitely am going to go with Dallas plus 6.5. If you look at New England's schedule, they haven't played anyone that great besides the Ravens, Eagles, and Bills. They beat the Eagles and the Bills by a touchdown or about a touchdown, and the Ravens beat them. So this is going to be a heavy passing game, I would say. The one thing, though, is New England's defense has only let up 10.8 points a game. But with the teams that they've played, I just don't have faith in them. I think that Dallas definitely keeps this game close, but definitely high scoring, in my opinion.
I'm going to agree with you, Mike. And as much as it pains me to say it, Dak Prescott is playing at a near MVP level. If it wasn't for Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson having phenomenal years, he'd be more in the conversation than he is now. And let's just, put it out there. New England struggles against mobile QBs. They struggled with Lamar Jackson. They kind of struggled with Josh Allen when they gave Josh Allen the freedom to kind of move. They kind of struggled with it, and it was Josh Allen more beating himself than the Patriots beating Josh Allen. With that said, Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Josh Allen, and if they can get him on the move and throwing in the bootleg and throwing, on the run, I think that opens up space for those secondary playmakers, for the Gallups and the Cobbs, and it probably even buys some time for Cooper to get open as well, whether it be, from one side all the way over the field, just giving time to lose Gilmore as opposed to shake him or deke him or put a move on it, because we all know Gilmore doesn't fall for that kind of stuff. He's going to stick to you like glue, so if you can outrun him, you can only guard a person for so long. But yeah, I agree. I think Dallas pulls it out. I think Dallas has a good scheme drawn up for this game, and if they can kind of control the tempo, if they can force the Patriots to play in an uncomfortable situation, play, sideline to sideline, they should be able to move the ball effectively and put points on the board. But it's hard to bet against the Patriots in any way, so I don't think Dallas comes out with a win, but I agree. I think they keep it close.
Now, the game is tough. I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys win this football game. I do think it's going to be close, and I would take Dallas Cowboys plus 6.5. I think it's going to be a game full of defense. Obviously, the Patriots' defense has been historic this year, putting up turnovers, keeping opposing offenses to low-scoring games. New England's known for taking away your number one option. So, like Mano was saying, they're going to take Stephon Gilmore's going to take Amari Cooper out of the picture. I do think the defense holds Zeke to maybe under 75 rushing yards easy. The game's going to ride on Dak Prescott's back. Is he going to make the throws? I do think he makes the throws. But then it's going to end up coming down to Dak versus Brady. And when it comes down to it, I do think Brady wins the game. And I think Brady, will outduel Dak Prescott. I do think the game's going to come down to a field goal, a game-winning field goal. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a defensive game. The Dallas Cowboys defense isn't what it used to be. They have Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, and then what's his face coming off, DeMarcus Lawrence coming off the edge. I don't know how I feel about Brady. I do think Brady's a little washed up. I think he's running down. They don't have a run game. They don't have anything like that. They have to establish themselves early if they want to hold, stand a chance against this game. But I think we're all on board with Patriots plus 6.5.
I'm just worried that Dak might throw multiple picks in this game. He does have 9 interceptions this season, and he did throw 3 against Green Bay. So that's the only thing. If he can stay away from throwing some interceptions, and I definitely think that they'll keep it close. But if he comes out throwing 1, even 2 picks early, that could just set their tempo and set them back. So that's the only thing that keeps me a little scared of that plus 6.5. That's why I'll stay away from this.
All right, so
What we got next?
we got moving on to Sunday Night Football. Green Bay at San Francisco. Probably going to be the best game of the week. Up there with Dallas, New England. I don't know. The line is San Francisco -3 at home. The over set at 47.5. I got to look more into this game as the week goes on. I need to know more about George Kittle's status. He did not participate in practice this week. Well, yet this week, as of Wednesday that we're recording this. It might be a severe injury I'm reading, and that's definitely a huge thing for Jimmy Garoppolo because he's arguably his favorite target. They have Marquise Goodwin, Deebo Samuel, Emmanuel Sanders, but George Kittle has that ability to stretch the field vertically, and I don't know, they've been lacking on offense with him out of the lineup. Like, they put up 36 on Arizona, not a great team. They played Arizona twice in the last 4 weeks. They're 9-1, leading the division, having a breakout season. But then again, you look on the other side of the ball and you have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has to say the least, a depleted receiving core. Devontae Adams is just coming back from his turf toe. You got to imagine it's still bothering him. I don't think he's 100%. Those type of things just don't go away. He's going to need the offseason before that thing gets back completely 100% healthy. He's going to have to get off that foot. Practicing is going to aggravate it. Everything's going to aggravate it. And, as much as he's playing, I just don't think he's fully healthy. And in turn, we've seen Green Bay turn to more of a run team. Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams have really been breaking out. Aaron Jones especially is a touchdown machine. Just feed him the ball inside the 10, and he'll get you into the end zone. I don't know which way this is going to go, but I just think if San Francisco can stop the run, I think they have a very good chance. And it might sound silly to say stop the run and put the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands, but I think that's their only option. Keep time on the clock. Don't let Aaron Rodgers control the game with his full offense and give Jimmy G a chance at home in prime time to really make a splash. This is going to be a close game. I mean, it's reflected in the line. This is a game where it's prime time. You're going to want to bet on it, but it's really a flip of the coin. It's going to bank on the defenses and if Green Bay's defense can step up.
So back to my point that I made before with the interceptions. Garoppolo does have 10, and Green Bay does have 9 interceptions of defense this season. So if Jimmy Garoppolo could keep it down and get his passes complete, even if they're more check down passes, that'll be good. But you really can't sleep on the go Aaron Rodgers. I think that he also has more experience than Garoppolo. And they are playing at Green Bay. Or no, they're playing at San Francisco. Excuse me. I don't know. I could still see Aaron Rodgers going in, smacking him. You have Devontae Adams. I know, I don't know. He doesn't have many touchdowns. He's questionable, but I think he'll play. You have a lot of also questionable people who haven't practiced it or have been limited in practice on the San Francisco offense. So we'll have to see later in the week since they have until Sunday night to play. So depending on those injuries, we'll see. But I'm going to go with Green Bay on this one.
I'm with Mike on this. I'm all over Green Bay +3 on this. I think if you're San Francisco, this is a game where you can afford to, where you have to sit Emmanuel Sanders because he's got a rib issue, and that's something they're going to need for him to heal up. I mean, if they want to make this playoff push at the end of the season, they're going to need a healthy Emmanuel Sanders. They're going to need a healthy George Kittle. Why risk putting them out there in this situation when I think their defense could hold up? Their defense could hold up decently. On the other side of the ball, Green Bay hasn't played. Well, today is November 20th. They haven't played since November 10th. They're going to have, what's that?
2 weeks.
They're going to have 2 weeks rest, and they're not playing until 8:20 on a Sunday night. They're going to be fully rested. They're going to be ready to go. Aaron Rodgers has done his research for the past couple weeks. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers makes too many mistakes in this game. I do think it's going to be a passing shootout. There's not going to be too many. There's not going to be too much rushing. Right now, in general, Green Bay is 2-0 as underdogs. They're 2-0 when they have more than 8 days rest. I'm all aboard Green Bay on this one. I think Aaron Rodgers puts the team on his back. Green Bay's trying to make a playoff push also. They're trying to keep their foot in the door. I think San Fran drops 2 straight. They get a little nervous after that. They get a little hot feet, and they come back to playing some good football. But I don't know. I don't really like San Fran this game. I don't trust when the game's on the line. I don't trust Jimmy G. I really don't. He's been okay this year, but I don't trust Jimmy G. When you stray away from the running game, all you have is Marquise Goodwin. All you have is Deebo Samuel if Emmanuel Sanders isn't out there. Green Bay's defense isn't the best, but they're also not the worst. So I'm riding Green Bay -3 here. Green Bay +3. So
I think San Francisco wins this game.
Just because you take +3 doesn't mean they're not going to win the game.
That's true. I like San Francisco in this game to win outright. I think that defense is legit. I don't think people pay enough attention to it because it's San Francisco and it's just it kind of came out of nowhere. But if you've been paying attention to what San Francisco has been doing the past few years in the draft and in free agent signings, they make smart free agent signings and they put a premium on their defense. I don't know the exact number, but I know a lot of the dudes on that front line are first-round draft picks.
Forrest Buckner,
Bosa.
I mean, that's all you have to name at that point.
I think they go and take the. I would lay the points. I would lay 3 at home. I like what I've seen from Green Bay this far, but I don't think they're quite there yet. They're a good team. I think they get stonewalled by San Francisco.
All right,
yeah, and that brings us to our Monday night matchup where Baltimore visits LA to play the Rams. I know I've said this about the last 2 games we've talked about in Dallas, New England, and Green Bay, San Francisco. But this has the potential to be a good game if, the Rams offense could really snap out of their funk. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Baltimore just runs away with this much more so than how they beat New England earlier in the year a couple weeks ago. The line's at -3 for Baltimore right now on the road. I mean, anytime you see a team against a good team in the Rams, they're not great. They're better last year. They're better 2 years ago. But when you see a team like the Ravens, who are kind of on a streaky little, weren't expected to be this good, but now they're showing out. Lamar Jackson's carrying them. I think he's way too hot. The Rams' defense is good, and I'm really interested to see. I'm interested to see how Lamar Jackson reacts to the pressure from Aaron Donald and that defense. I think he's most definitely quick enough to get away. It's just a matter of, does he have the wherewithal to really deal with that pressure and find guys downfield? Because he's not going to be able to do it with his legs. The Rams are quick on defense, and they know how to play. They're well coached. It's just a matter of if Jared Goff can break down that Baltimore defense. And, I don't know. They only put up 17 against Chicago, who has a good defense. But the thing is, if you put 17 up against the Ravens, you're going to lose this week. You're going to have to match Lamar Jackson point for point. I think this is going to be a close one, just like the line reflects. It has the potential to be a close one. I personally do not think it will be a close one. I think it'll be somewhere between maybe a 10 to 17-point win for the Ravens on the road. I think it's going to be convincing. I think this is going to be the game where Lamar Jackson cements his MVP season. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit here, but Baltimore -3. It's my pick.
I'm with you. I'm Baltimore -3. I think it is going to be a closer game, though, than people think. They are at home. They are in prime time. Sean McVay is a good coach. It comes down, I think, to Jared Goff just being smart with the ball here. And also, Lamar Jackson has been just going off week after week. I'm just a little worried that he might fall into, not a slump, but he might just have one off week, especially traveling cross-coast time difference, playing a little later. I'm going to go with -3, but I think that this might be a little bit high-scoring game and a closer game than some people are expecting based on the Rams' schedule, Rams' record.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to say. I'm all aboard Ravens -3. I don't think the Rams stand much of a chance. I mean, yeah, the Rams have the defense, but the Rams do not have the offense. I think Lamar Jackson torches the defense with his legs, with his arm. I don't think it's even close. I think it's going to be a blowout on Monday night, and I take the Ravens by 1,000,000 in that game. I have nothing. That's all I got.
I think the key to this game, and I think it's been touched on, is the defenses from both teams. I think I'm going to take Rams +3. I think I've differed on the past five of the games, but I think the key to stopping Lamar Jackson, not breakout game because he's obviously broken out, but continuing his breakout season is to continue to get pressure in his face and force him to kind of make a throw on the run or kind of force him into a poor decision. And I think the dude that's going to be tasked with doing that is the dude that you want, Aaron Donald. Obviously, you want your defensive tackle to get to the quarterback in the least amount of steps. He's literally right in front of him. If he can get to him and force Lamar Jackson to the outside where he can make a poor decision, a poor throw, or even get sacked because somebody's getting pressure off the edge but just doesn't get to him as quick. You have to get to Lamar Jackson quick. I think LA can do that, and I think they'll cover the spread. I think +3 at home. I would take that. So I think that just about covers the week on tap here. I think to wrap this baby up, let's do some locks. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Stick. What's the Stickley lock of the day?
All right, well, I'm gonna stick with what I mentioned before when we were talking about the game. But Buffalo -4 is definitely my lock of the week. I just don't think Denver has a chance. I harped on it enough, but yeah, Buffalo -4 at home against the Broncos, lock of the week.
All right, Stick, I got to take the same as you. Buffalo Bills are home. Can never sleep on Bills Mafia. They're 3-2 at home, and the Broncos are 1-4 on the road. This is another one that I wanted to say. You should hop on this quick. I think -4 is very generous. And then one more thing I want to bring up that I stated before. It's all about the hands, baby. You have Josh Allen with the 10 and 1/8 inch hands, but yeah, you have Brandon Allen over here who apparently had 8.5 inch hands, but somehow grew them to 8 7/8 inch once he got into the league. I think the Bills are a lock here. Hammer that -4 before Vegas realizes.
His hands grew because that's professional stretching right there. He got in the Denver workout room and he started stretching the hands. Yeah, he's doing the finger exercise.
They paid the trainers.
Yeah, they were stretching him out a little bit.
Fucking son knows nothing about hands.
I think my lock of the week this week is going to be Oakland -3 at MetLife against the Jets. I think Vegas is
Wrong.
high. Well, yeah, I think they're high on the Jets right now. The Jets are coming off 2 wins against the Giants and the Redskins. 2 teams you should probably beat, even if you are the New York Jets. Oakland finds himself in the thick of a playoff hunt. Who would have thought when they signed John Gruden that they'd be able to, to that amount of money, get them in the playoffs once, and I guess it pays off. Maybe, I don't know, but they find themselves in the thick of a playoff race. I think they come in, and I think they dominate the Jets from first whistle to final whistle.
Yeah, and my lock, I'm gonna go with Seattle +2. Not really too sure why they're +2 in this situation. I hate Philadelphia. I hate Philadelphia sports, which absolutely factors into my decision. But I also think it's smart. Philly's defense isn't what it used to be. They have no pass. Their passing defense is atrocious. They're not gonna have Jordan Howard this week running the ball. It's gonna be all Miles Sanders and Darren Sproles maybe. I mean, I don't know.
I thought he retired.
I don't think it matters at this point. I'm rolling with Seattle +2. I'm a big Pete Carroll fan. I love Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's the man. and I think that game's going to be over a lot earlier than a lot of people think it's going to be.
So that wraps up our very first capsON podcast. It's all 4 of our very first time recording a podcast, so please bear with us as we figure this out. We've had some audio difficulties in getting this set up, working on getting the right equipment for it. But what we're not working on is getting picks. We got that down. You can follow our social media, Instagram at capson.sports, and on Twitter at capson_Inc. And in each of the bios, we're going to have a Linktree link, which is a nice little tool to put buttons for every single one of our social media so you can follow us and you won't miss a thing. And, yeah, just a little bit about what we'll be posting is going to be daily picks. We're not only going to do NFL, we're going to get into NBA, college basketball, baseball when it rolls around, pretty much everything that you guys would be interested in. If you have any suggestions, please don't hesitate to send us a DM. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you so much for listening. We're gonna aim to post every, I would say, Thursday, maybe moving towards twice a week. Once there's more sports going on at once and as we get the hang of it. But for now, this has been the capsON podcast. Thanks for listening.
And let's go Giants.
Yeah, let's go Giants.